Welcome back. It's going to be a wonderful video today, as I'm taking a lot of steps to learn more about the control of the plane, including my very first takeoff. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Graham, and I'm a student pilot documenting my journey to getting my private pilot's license. I'm training in a 1970 Cessna 150 at Smoketown Flight Center in Pennsylvania. If you're interested in getting your private pilot's license, or just want to get a bird's eye view on how flight lessons go, I'll be happy to have you stick around. I finally received my headset as well as my cockpit and ATC recorder, so today should be a huge step up for my voiceover content, as you'll be able to hear what's going on in real time. It is going to be quite a windy flight today, and much of the flight that is below 2,500 feet will be really bumpy. Today I'm just going to let the audio I recorded do most of the talking, just to try it out, so let me know if you guys like this type of video or if you'd like to see more of a hybrid of voiceover and cockpit audio. So let's get straight to our startup procedures. Before start, seats locked, seatbelts are fastened, brakes set.
Yeah, we
So
just
that's
kind of
just-
keep our feet on
Okay.
the tops of the pedals.
Master on, and beacon on, and I'm assuming, does this have to go on as well? Or
Just the beacon, yeah, just for startup.
nav lights, night on, we're fine during the day so we don't need
Yep.
nav lights.
Mhm.
Fuel valve, verify it's on, and then start PIC.
So that's pilot and command. So
Okay.
I'll do that.
Yep. Alright. Brake set. Carb heat off.
Yep.
That's
So off is in.
just in.
Mhm.
Okay. Mixture is rich.
Full rich, good.
Throttle quarter open. You said about the tip of your fingers. Good.
So that's for the mixture when we
oh, that's for
lean
the
the
mixture.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
For the throttle, it's just like the tiniest little bit in.
So just like
That's probably perfect right there.
Right there?
Honestly. Yep.
okay.
Mm-hmm. We'll see if we need a primer. I don't think we will, but
Okay.
we'll see.
Okay.
So you can
For visual and-
open your window and then close the door. That's like the best way to do it.
Gotcha.
Just give it like a good. All right, cool.
Yep.
Now you can yell clear
Alright.
prop.
Clear prop. And
And
then
then with
the
your left hand,
mag and EIS.
Yep.
Right. Yep.
left hand on the starter, right hand on the throttle to adjust it. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead. Might need that prime.
I need prime.
All right, so you'll pull the primer out, and at the same time as you're pushing it in, do that start. I'll do the throttle.
That's set. Okay, so max our RPM should be 1,000. It's just like right in the ballpark, doesn't have to be
Yeah,
exact.
800 to 1,000 is fine.
Okay. And oil pressure, which is... Is that right here?
So that's
No.
our vacuum suction oil pressures.
Oil pressure.
Yep.
The one that says oil pressure.
Yeah, well, you know.
Yep, it's on the green. Okay, and flaps up. Avionics.
So that's this box up here. We turn it on by rotating that guy to the right.
There
And
we go.
then, so this all the way to the right is very loud, all the way to the left before the click off is very quiet.
Okay.
So you'll pull it for the squelch, which is just the static test, and then turn it till it sounds like an appropriate volume.
Okay.
So, yep, all right, sweet.
Perfect. All right. Transponder should be 1200. Alternator gauge is charging, so I remember that. That should be slightly above 0, which
Correct.
looks good.
Yep.
And mixture lean, so this is where we bring it out.
About a
Quarter.
top of your finger's worth, yes, sir.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. There. Okay. Before taxi, weather and ATIS.
Yes,
So
sir.
that would
All of
be-
our important frequencies are here, and we use KLNS.
Okay, so 125.675.
And you can put that in the standby.
Standby. So how do I know which one I'm on?
So you're on this one right now. This is Smoketown's frequency, and you'll adjust the standby first and then switch it into the active. All right, so put 125.675 in there.
125. Point.
And you just pull that knob out and then twist it to get the small numbers and then push it back in. There you go. Sweet. Okay. Next.
All right.
We'll set the altimeter, right? So you got the altimeter setting in there.
3011.
So right in here, you'll rotate this knob until you get 3011 in the Colesman window.
That's about right there.
Sweet.
All right, radios and tests set for ground.
So this is where you would just do the Smoketown radio check.
Charlie, 5 to the south, landing runway 28 smoke.
Smoketown radio check.
Yep, we got you.
Perfect. Airport diagram, we know the airport. Radio calls, and for taxi.
So for airport diagram, it can actually be pretty helpful if you go to Smoketown Airport and click on it. And then click on the little diagram there, and then go full screen bottom right.
Oh, very cool.
And oftentimes it will put like a little, see on mine, it's got where I am.
Yeah.
So it's showing me where I am. I'm in the grass. So this way you can kind of just give like a overview idea of what to expect. So, you know, like I would say we're in the grass here. We're going to taxi over and hold short of runway 1028. We'll make a call, cross the runway, head down to the run-up area on the arrival side of 28, and we'll depart from there.
Okay.
Cool.
Nice. Alrighty.
All right. So, feet on the pedals. You'll pull the yoke all the way back because we are in the grass.
Right.
Right hand on the throttle. Just add enough to get us moving. And once we do get moving, you can probably pull a little bit back. We don't want to, you know, like shoot off the grass. We want to keep it nice and slow. So go ahead.
Gotcha. Just enough to get us moving, and we're going to the left.
Yes, sir. Okay. Sweet. Yep.
Cool.
Might be in just like a little bit of a rut here. Sometimes if you just like bounce the rudder just a little bit.
That's really making me
Yeah. There we go. Sweet. All right, cool. And then left rudder to get us onto the path, right? And remember, the top of the rudder is the brake. The bottom is just to turn the wheel. So sometimes it takes just like a little bit extra.
Yeah.
You need just a little bit of left brake to coax it along, you know?
Gotcha. I was like, yeah, it's not going very, very sharply. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, so, okay. So the brake like just kind of pretty much like plants it.
Yep. And when we're taxiing, you can generally be between 800 and 1,000 RPM, and that'll be plenty enough speed for us.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, so brake and stop right here for me. And then just take a look at the windsock.
Or what's left of it. Okay. So
it is kind of swinging all around, but it's really not that much of a wind to begin with, so it's not terribly important for us to accommodate. So we're still going to go over to 28, all right? Okay. So right rudder, right pedal, swing us around to the right, and then you see the double line with the dotted dash line here?
Yeah.
That's our hold short line, so we have to hold short of that before we can go onto the runway. Right, yep. All right, so we'll brake here, and then this is where we'll make our call that we're crossing the runway on the ground.
Okay, so it's Smoketown traffic, 6140 Golf, crossing the active midfield on the ground, Smoketown.
Beautiful.
Hell yeah. Smoketown traffic, 6140 Golf, crossing the active midfield on the ground, Smoketown.
All right, and then we just always double check, verbalize, clear right, clear left.
Yep, clear right and clear left.
All right.
And then we're going across and into that other.
Cross and over, yep. 800 to 1,000 will do.
That is really different, getting used to steering with your feet on the ground.
Yep, not at all the same as driving a car. Right. And then same deal, just make sure there's nobody coming from the left, and then proceed. Yep. And then we'll make the radio call that we're clear the active.
Is this Smoketown traffic 614 Golf, clear of the active Smoketown?
Yep.
Smoketown traffic 614 Golf, clear of the active Smoketown.
All right, so now we're sloping downhill, so 800 is plenty.
Gotcha.
We really don't want to ride the brakes all that much.
Sure.
So keeping the RPMs lower so that we're not like really hiking it is better. And go all the way down, and then we'll loop around and point ourselves that way. All right.
Okay.
All right. Cool. You might need to add a little throttle just to swing us around. Next on the checklist.
All right. Before takeoff, brakes set. Burp heat is off. Okay. Flight controls. So ailerons. Look good. Elevator. Looks good. Rudder looks good.
Sweet.
Alright. Flaps are up. And DG.
That's our directional gyro or heading indicator.
Right. Okay.
So we make sure that they match.
24 I remember. There we go. So this will need to.
So you'll push it in and then turn it. Yep. There you go. Sweet.
A little bit off of 2-4 that way.
Sweet.
There we go.
Looks good.
Alrighty. Fuel valve is on. Mixture is rich. Elevator trim for takeoff. There we go. Throttle to 1700 RPM. Mag check, so mag off.
And then you'll turn it back on. Yep.
Okay. And
same deal.
EIS. Yep, slight drop. Back on. And then carb heat on.
That one we do see a good bit of a drop. Yep. And then we bring the throttle all the way to idle.
With the carb heat still on?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's what the idle check
Idle.
is.
Oh, check idle, okay.
Yep.
And then gauges should still be green. Oil temp, oil pressure. Nice. Are those the only two we should check? Oil pressure and temperature? Or are those the gauges?
We'll check that the amps are still charging.
Oh, just everything. Okay.
The next one says suction, but it's kind of out of order because where you have no throttle in. So
gotcha.
Put the carb heat back on, back off.
Oh wait, that's the throttle.
No, that's right. Yep, you're good. Carb heat all the way.
Carb heat
good.
all the way off.
And then we can see the suction is in that acceptable range. Yep. And then we can bring that throttle back to like 800 to 1,000.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, radios set as needed. We already have. We're just gonna be or Smoketown, and then once we get up,
once we get up, we'll do flight following with approach. So you can load in
so we can
approach
set this
here.
for standby. Okay.
Correct.
So 1, 2, 6, 4, 5.
Sweet.
Okay. Departure brief. So just discussing like any like early emergency procedures or anything.
Yes, sir.
So I remember last time we talked about if we lose engine power below 1,000 feet, we pick a good landing spot in 45 degrees of each direction.
Okay.
And then above 1,000 feet, we should be good to circle back and land on the runway.
Awesome. And then the other one is if we get the engine failure prior to rotation.
Okay.
Then we'll just pull the throttle, brake,
gotcha.
hop off. Yep.
Nice. Okay. Doors secure, seats and windows secure.
All right.
And we're taking the runway. Carb heat off. Mixture rich. flaps set. So flaps for this is just 0 for takeoff.
Correct.
Okay. Elevator trim, we already set that for takeoff. And lights on. So
we're good.
Just the beacon. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And then for takeoff, full throttle, rotate is 55 miles per hour. And climb speed 60.
So we'll do 74.
Okay. 74.
Yep.
Okay.
So if you look over at the windsock, you can see it's just pretty much going straight down the runway right now.
That's
kind of occasionally going coming from the left, going right. You see the tail's kind of, but again, it's really not that drastic of a wind. So,
okay.
All right.
Smoketown traffic, 6140 Golf, departing runway 28 to the south, Smoketown.
Sweet. All right, take it away, and we'll say clear final.
All right. Yep, clear final.
Clear final. A little bit of right rudder to keep us going down the runway. Sweet. A little more right rudder. There we go. Perfect. All right, all the way to full power.
Full power.
We'll check our engine gauges, make sure we're green.
Yep.
All right, looking for that airspeed to start coming alive. And there's our rotation speed. We'll just pull back just a little. Now push the nose forward just to get us to that 74. Right?
Yep.
We want to get that airspeed in to climb away at our 74.
Wow.
Just a little bit more nose down.
Yeah.
There we go. Now we're at 74. We can start climbing away.
All right.
Now, if you feel like you're pushing forward to keep that 74 in there, you can add a little bit of forward trim. All right? So that trim wheel down there, just push it forward a couple times. See what it does to you.
There it is. Yeah.
So that you're not pushing so much, right? That's just to alleviate a little bit of that pressure that you have to put on there. All right? So we're going to keep coming out this way until we hit 800 feet, and then we'll make our left turn out to the south, okay?
Smoketown traffic, 6140 Golf, left, crosswind 28, Smoketown.
Beautiful. All right, this is fine. This heading's good.
Okay.
So we'll hold this for just a little while until we start to depart the pattern.
Okay. Smoketown traffic, 6140 Golf, departing the pattern to the south, Smoketown.
Sweet. Ooh. And then we'll switch over to Harrisburg.
November 0 Charlie Tango, proceed on course. Proceed on course.
And whenever you first talk to approach, you just make the cold call. So you'll say, Harrisburg approach, Cessna 6140 Golf.
Harrisburg approach, Cessna 6140 Golf.
November 2 Lima Foxtrot, IFR cancellation received, squawk VFR, frequency change approved, take care.
I did not hear a single word.
Yeah, we might have gotten stepped on.
Harrisburg approach, Cessna 6140 Golf.
Cessna 6140 Golf, Harrisburg approach, standby.
Standby.
Standby. So look down at the ground and tell me what the winds are doing.
Pushing us way to the left.
Yeah.
Didn't even notice.
Really pushing us to the left. Yep. Point the nose to counteract
November
that.
0 Charlie Tango, contact Capacity Tower, good day.
That's so weird.
Yep.
Very pointed that way, we're flying like that.
Correct.
So how do we keep track? So like obviously we're pointing, heading 210.
4986, turn right heading 040.
But we're actually going like closer to here.
Right. So we have our course heading. So that's what is represented on our compasses. And then we have our actual ground track, right? So part of what we'll do when we get to cross-country flight planning is we're going to take into consideration what are the winds doing aloft and how do we need to correct for it to go on the ground track that we actually want. Because more often than not, you're going to be pointing the nose in a direction that doesn't line up exactly with the actual ground track that you want to fly, right? Right. All right, so once we get to 3,000 feet, just bring that nose level.
November 20 Charlie, contact Reading.
Let that airspeed come between 80 and 90, and then bring the power back to like 22, 2300, okay? What I was getting at is, before we do any maneuvers, we do clearing turns, right? So 90 degrees to the right, 90 degrees to the left. And because we're flying in a high-wing aircraft, return to the right, we actually check the opposite direction, right? We're checking in front of us, but we're also checking to the opposite direction to see if there's anything above us that we didn't see. Okay. Sweet. All right, let's go. Clearing turns good. All right, let's just do some turns to headings, okay? So give me a right-hand turn to 240. 240. And whenever we make these turns, I want you to lead and hold with the appropriate rudder, which is usually in the same direction. And you can use that little ball just to verify that you've got yourself coordinated. So we say step on the ball. All right?
Gotcha.
Add in a bump of power for me, just a touch slow.
Oh, right, now we are all right.
And we are climbing just a bit, so just bring that nose down a little bit for me. Bring it to like 2,300.
23.
Yeah, there we go, sweet. Now I would like you to descend me down to 2,500 on this heading of 210. So to do that, just bring some power back to about 1,700. Oh. All right, sweet. And then I want you to give me a 500 foot per minute descent rate. All right, so adjust the nose to get that 500 foot per minute descent rate, okay? Maintaining that 210 heading down to 2,500. Cool. Okay.
Man, I love this so much.
It's awesome. All right, once you get to 2,500, you'll reintroduce that power slowly to arrest the descent back up to 2,300.
2,000, 3,000, heading 050.
Nice.
There we go.
All right, sweet. Sweet.
There we go.
All right. Let's do a little bit of slow flight.
Gotcha.
All right, so we'll just follow the landing checklist there, and we're aiming for 65 to 70 on the airspeed indicator once we do get into to the end of our checklist, all right?
Mixture is rich.
Good.
Heartbeat is on.
All right.
Throttle to 1,700 RPM.
Good.
Flaps to 10 degrees.
Yep, incremental. So we're allowed to add flaps in when we are in this white arc. All right, so we're in that white arc, so we're all good.
Pitching me down.
That's okay.
Sky 5556, contact tower, good day.
Tower, talk to you to bed, Sky 5556.
Right now, if we try to arrest our descent, we're going to trade that off and lose airspeed, which we don't want to do without having those flaps in. So we'll go 10 degrees.
Station 838, Charlie 1,500 foot 3,000, heading 050.
Station 838, Charlie, here's for departure, radar contact, climb maintain.
So it'll stop once you just let go of it. Yep. All right, cool. Bring that power up to like 1,900. Yeah, sweet. Nice. All right, next 20 degrees.
20 degrees of flaps?
Yep.
Okay.
Sweet.
There we go.
All right. Pitch down just a little bit more. Those flaps really try and push it back.
Yeah.
So do some forward trim. Bunch of forward trim. Even more. We're aiming for 60 to 65 on the airspeed. Yeah, even more. Even more. All right. Add that last notch of flaps to 30 degrees.
30 degrees.
November 38, Charlie, clear dark Benny.
Sweet. Now we need even more forward trim.
More forward trim.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, holy crap. Yeah, that really. Woo.
Add in some more power. Give it to like 2,200. Going slow.
Pitch the nose down.
Pitch the nose down. If we're descending, add in a little power.
November 8, Mike Kilo, contact.
So we're operating in what's called the region of reverse command. And the reason it's called that is twofold. One, because it's basically the opposite of your intuition.
Yeah.
What you would normally think when you're going too slow is add power, right?
Yeah.
But instead, it's put the nose down. Normally you would think, oh boy, I'm descending. I need to pull up. It's going to have the opposite effect that you want it to have. You're going to lose all of your airspeed and not climb at all, and probably stall the aircraft.
Yeah.
So while we're in slow flight here, I just want to show you how absolutely forgiving this aircraft is. Okay, so my flight controls.
Your flight controls?
My flight controls. All right. So
Bonanza 1952.
one of the things that we have to demonstrate in during the check ride are stalls.
260.
Right. So we demonstrate a stall and the appropriate recovery. Okay.
Okay.
Now, in some aircraft, if you stall, that can be like life-threatening.
Yeah.
Like it could be very, very difficult to stall, or I mean to recover from the stall, and it might take too long for the aircraft to be able to recover, for you to maintain a safe altitude.
Right.
Generally, these stalls are so dangerous because they happen so close to the ground.
Yeah.
During the critical phases of flight, when you're very slow, and you're either coming into land or you are just taking off. Right? Now, the reason why the Cessnas are so good for training is because they're like impossible to fall out of the sky, like even in a stalled condition. All right. So,
we'd like to do the.
Is it all right if I demonstrate for you a power off stall?
My heart rate just went up to the roof, but absolutely.
That's all right. That's pretty normal. And I just want to show you just how safe this aircraft is and how we have so much warning prior to a stall even happening that you'll know right away, I need to do something, I need to correct something. We bring the power to about 1700 to simulate like we're coming into land, right? That's this step on the checklist. We've got our vertical speed coming down, we're coming into land, our airspeed looks good, and then we're simulating like we're flaring for landing way too high above the ground. All right? So the power comes out, and I'm just pitching up. You'll hear the stall warning horn come on. There it is. All right. And there's the stall. So now I'm stalled. And it's not falling out of the sky.
Yeah, look at that one.
It's not even falling out of the sky. So the recovery is you add your full power in, car feed comes off, one flap goes away right away. I want to see my airspeed come in, and I want to stop descending. So once I get to a safe airspeed, I'm going to start pitching up. Next notch goes away when I've got a positive rate, and then my final notch goes away, and I climb it away at 74.
Okay.
Cool.
So you have the stall, full power, get to a safe airspeed, and then pitch up, carpet off.
So simultaneously, it's full power and nose down.
Full power, nose down to get the airspeed back.
That's right. Exactly. Just so you know, like these aircraft are very safe and they are very forgiving, and there's a lot of wiggle room. We just want to stay far away from getting ourselves into a dangerous situation.
Gotcha.
That's all. Okay. All right. You have flight controls.
I have flight controls.
All right. This heading is fine here. Go ahead and get me back into slow flight so we can look at like doing climbs and descents, see how those work, all right?
Extra rich.
November 952, climb maintain 8000, clear escape, and contact New York Center 132.2.
Bravo's gonna go to 1700. And final flaps for 0. Okay, so we'll go to 10.
This is Archer 466 Foxtrot Alpha.
November 33 Romeo.
Again, with each notch of flaps you add in, you can add a little bit of forward trim because it's always going to be wanting to pitch you up.
This is already pretty forward. I'm not gonna pull back, so that's good for now.
Perfect.
All right, and then we'll go down to 20 degrees.
Sounds good.
There it is. Pitching this up. Still good.
60 to 65 is good.
And a little bit of power to keep us at deep altitude.
Sounds good.
All right, looking good, and then we go to 30 degrees.
30 degrees.
Harrisburg approach, this is Archer 466 Foxtrot Alpha.
30 degrees. And we'll pitch.
Archer 466 Foxtrot Alpha, standby.
Yep.
Hawker 2 Mike Golf, turn right heading 100, join the final
power.
Right there, 100, join the final 482 Mike Golf.
Sierra Quebec Charlie, turn left heading 100, vectors for the visual approach.
Left heading 100.
There we are.
All right, sweet.
The 3-3 Romeo,
Right.
the ILS is also out of service in addition to a NOLA, so just plan for
Keep that airspeed up a little bit. Pump it up to like 1800 for me.
Stand by, for 333 Romeo.
There we go. And then just push the nose down a bit to keep us descending down to 1500. Now, the further down we get, it might just get a tad bumpy. But
just a tad.
that's how we have to, that's pretty much how low we have to be in order to do the ground reference maneuvers.
Right. Proceed to turn.
Yes, sir. We'll just do the NOLA procedure.
Just a little bit of right rudder to keep us coordinated.
Okay, yeah, like I said, though, I think that whole outage...
Yeah, wind's starting to bump us from the left a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
All right, here comes our point, so we'll add in that power now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then we'll plan on the pilot.
And we're aiming to be wings level,
No problem, and then...
straight up and down.
We're actually going to go mid, and then do the islet for 8 Capital City.
Number 33 Romeo, yep, it'll be that 200 heading.
All right, so there's our point. So we'll just come out just a little bit here, since it seems like the wind is coming from a little bit from the right there. Keep that power at 2300 for me.
Wind's fighting me. Wow.
Yep.
There's that wind we were expecting.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Ooh. I'll tell you, it throws you around on these small planes.
It sure does. All right. Do you want to give this one a go, or would you like me to demonstrate one?
You can demonstrate one, and we can do the next one.
Sure. All right. I'll take flight controls.
All right, your flight controls.
Flight controls.
Your flight controls.
All right. So I'm going to get myself just a little bit closer to that 1500. All right, my wings are just about level. Getting pushed a little bit to the left, but it's kind of coming straight from my 45 to the right. Okay. So now I'm wings level. I'm going to start that turn, and I'm just trying to stay equidistant from my point. So wind is pushing me this way. I know that I'm going to hold this for just a tad. I don't want to turn in too much, because then it's just going to push me right back into my point.
Gotcha.
All right, now I'm going to kind of aggressively bring the bank in so that I end up wings level again with my point.
Information Quebec at Capital City.
So I want the wings to be back over the road once I go over, and then I'm probably going to have to pretty aggressively come in on this side, because the wind's trying to push me away. So I'm barely moving in this direction at all, right? Boy, I tell you, today might not be the day for ground reference.
Probably not.
Oof. Well, that was not good. All right, forget it. We're just gonna climb it out. Look at this. Look how bad that was.
That's holy shit.
That was bad. But you could see what the wind was doing, right? Like, even with that aggressive turn in, it was pushing it in and then pushing it over. Whew. All right. All right. How you feeling? Feeling all right?
Yeah, perfectly fine so far.
Sweet.
Oh, now it's smooth as butter right up here.
Right?
Crazy how fast that changes.
We're like not even moving. Let's see if we can get to not move at all. Might not be windy enough.
Yeah, this is like 10 miles per hour ground speed. Holy shit.
That's pretty strong. Pretty strong.
At this point, unfortunately, my camera did die, but after flying back towards the airport, we went in for a landing. It was very, very choppy as the wind had picked up significantly, and my instructor was having me at the controls whilst we entered the pattern and right before touchdown. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous as hell during this part, but it overall went as smooth as it could have for a 19-knot crosswind. Overall, it was a wonderful day of flying, and thankfully I didn't get nauseous at all. In my upcoming lessons, we're going to be working more on takeoffs and landings to get those down. As always, thank you to everyone who stuck around for the flight today. It truly means a lot to me that you take interest in seeing the journey. If you have any questions or any feedback for the videos, please comment them down below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the skies for my next flight.